Okay, so a long time ago a while ago when I was 4, I went to the Home Depot. My parents were remodeling. The house was looking extremely nice. So one day we were going there and we were getting some new paint, some new wood, and there was this aisle and it was halfway closed and halfway open. And I figured, you know what? Well, if I open it, it will make a huge difference and it will help out the Home Depot. So I hurry up, run up to it, open it up, and go back to where my mom is. So then a guy walks by and he sees that the gate is open. And I think, yeah, this is going pretty well. I was supremely proud of myself. And the guy, he comes, and then the guy, he screams at the other guy. He's like, "Are you serious? This place is blocked off." And he looks over. I felt supremely bad, so I looked at my mom and she grabbed my hand and she dragged me out of the Home Depot. Ever since then, I was scared to go to the Home Depot because what if they figured out my fingerprints? What if they figured out it was me and I could go to jail or something?
Alright, so a long time ago, there was a tall man decided to wake up and take a stroll through the hills. So he was taking a stroll, then he kind of heard a thumping sound. So then he just thought, well, it's not doing anything, too busy, so I'll just ignore it. So he kept walking and kept walking. Then he heard it louder and louder and louder and louder. So then he got kind of scared, so then he decided, well, okay, I'm gonna turn back and head back. So then he runs back, but on his way back, he got stopped by a big, huge, massive Tyrannosaurus Rex. So then he kind of freaked out right there. So then he ran back the other way. So while he was running, he kind of heard a sound, and he heard, "I will get you at 5 o'clock. So then he was like, okay, all right. Okay, I better head into town to go figure out what to do. So he heads into town, and at this point he's sprinting. So he's sprinting and heading into town. And so he goes into and then he was running, and then all of a sudden, right then and there, he just passed out. So then he was asleep, but then he got woken by an airplane pilot. So the airplane pilot helped him up and said, "Are you okay?" and asked him, why did he pass out right there? And the tall man said, "Well, a T-Rex is coming after me, and I've never faced one before, and I don't know what to do." So then the airplane pilot was like, "Well, I could help you with that. I have an airplane for you. Here's the keys, and there's a little knob that you can twist, and it will drop like little grenades on its head. So maybe this can help you." So then he was feeling better. They got him some water, and he's feeling better. Got him up, and so he just kind of walked away. But then the tall man started running back because the guy never told him where the helicopter was. So he went to the airport. He was trying to head for the airport. So while he was running there, he bumped into another guy. This was a helicopter pilot, and the helicopter pilot looked at him and said, "Dude, why are you running so fast?" And then he's like, "Well, a T-Rex is after me, and I just got an airplane, and I don't know where it is." And he's like, "Oh, well, if you don't find it, here's my helicopter keys. Use these to defeat the T-Rex. And it is in section 4B on the airport." So then he says, "All right, thanks for the directions and your helicopter." So then he runs to section 4B and notices right next to it was the airplane. So he clicked the keys to see if it was the right airplane. Yep, it's the right one. Okay, so now let's go start him up and get ready. So while he was starting up the airplane, a military officer asked him and said, "Hey, what are you doing with those?" And then he's like, "Well, the guy gave them to me. 2 guys gave these to me so that I could defeat a T-Rex." So then he decided, okay, well, here's a tank. I think he can use this to handle the T-Rex somehow. So then he's like, okay, all right, thanks. And then the military officer left. And then now he felt extremely confident. So then he looked down at his watch. He noticed, oh boy, it's 5 o'clock. I better get ready. So he hopped in the airplane, fired it up, shot off the landing pad, and there he went. He's flying, and then like a mile into his flight, he noticed the T-Rex. So he was flying, and then he flew right over the head of the T-Rex, and then he twisted the knob, and then dropped little grenades on its head. And then boom, 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 boom. That's all he could hear. So then he was like, okay, now it's green, go land the airplane while he's still unconscious, and then I'll get in the helicopter. So then he took the helicopter, landed the airplane, took the helicopter, flew up, and then like a half mile away from the airport, he noticed the T-Rex again, just walking towards it. So then he thought to himself, well, if I shoot it at the legs, it will want to like sit down and not walk anymore because its legs are there. So he fired at the legs with a turret attached to his helicopter. So he was firing at that, and then then the T-Rex's legs got all numb and just tipped over and fell. So then he hurried and landed the helicopter, and then he was like, okay, perfect. Now he took the tank, drove it up right next to it, and then, boom! Then there's a big, dark cloud of smoke. And then, once it cleared, there's nothing there. Absolutely nothing. So, he did his job. He defeated the dinosaur, and now, from this day on, he doesn't have to fight dinosaurs anymore.
Okay, so one morning in Jurassic Park, man woke up and was making himself a cup of coffee, and he went outside to sit on the porch and just enjoy the nice morning breeze. And he was taking a drink of his coffee and he saw that it was shaking and rumbling. So he looked up and saw it was a T-Rex. He ran inside, hid under the table for a while, and then he heard the T-Rex roar and then say, "Tonight I'll be back to eat you for dinner." So then the T-Rex started walking back to up the mountain, and the man went outside his house and started running down the hill to try and find something to do. He ran into a dino hunter that was looking for a T-Rex, so he thought maybe it would be the same one when he told him what it was. And so he gave him some bait and said, "Put this outside of your house so when the T-Rex comes, he'll eat the bait, and then you can find something else to, like, hurt him or something or make him unconscious." So then he said thank you and started running back to his house when patrol officer for Jurassic Park stopped him and said, "Why are you running up this hill so fast?" And he said, "I'm trying to get some ideas to defeat a T-Rex." And he said, "Well, maybe I could help. I have a poison gun that you could use because we're trying to find a T-Rex. It might be the same one." So he put the bait outside of his house, and he put the gun on his table and thought, when he eats the bait, I'll shoot the T-Rex and he'll be unconscious. So he felt okay, but then he thought, well, he'll eat the meat, and then I'll shoot him with the poison gun, and he'll be wounded for a second, but then he'll be back to normal, and he'll still want to eat me. So the man was freaking out still. So he was freaking out when a clerk came by and said, "Oh, what are you talking about?" He said, "Well, a T-Rex is going to eat me for dinner tonight." He said, "Well, what's all this other stuff for?" He said, "This is part of my plan." So the clerk said, well, maybe when he eats the meat, you can shoot him with the poison gun, and he'll fall over on the nails, and he'll be pretty much done. So he said thanks, and he's like, that could be the end of my plan. But luckily, another person came by just to make sure that the whole plan would be finished and done. So the man said, well, what's all this stuff for? And he said, because I'm going to defeat a T-Rex tonight. So he said, well, I have this cannon that I was going to get a T-Rex. I was going to get some kind of dinosaur too. It's been like eating all the other dinosaurs. So when the dinosaur eats the meat, you shoot him with the poison gun, he'll fall on the nails, then you shoot him with the cannon, and he'll be dead. And then if it's the T-Rex that we've been looking for, just let us know, and then we can get rid of it. So he said thanks, and he was starting to make himself some dinner when he heard thump, thump, thump. It was coming towards him. He ran outside and saw it was the T-Rex. He put the meat outside his house and set up the nails, and when the dinosaur got close to his house, he got the gun ready. The dinosaur was coming and is like, you can't hide for long, but he saw the meat and was like, well, maybe that will add on to my meal. So he took a bite of it. As soon as he took a bite, the man was sitting by the window with the poison gun, and he shot him with the poison gun. The dinosaur started stumbling backwards. He tripped and fell over and fell onto a bunch of nails. The man went outside, loaded the cannon, and shot the T-Rex. That was the end of the T-Rex. Then he showed the Jurassic Park that he killed the T-Rex, and it was the one they were looking for, so they gave him some money because it was killing all the other dinosaurs. So then he used all the money to get the Army man a new tank. He got the clerk some new nails, the officer new poison gun, and the dino hunter some more meat to use. And then he went and bought himself a new house outside of Jurassic Park, so he didn't have to worry about dinosaurs again.
So it was a day in South Korea, and there's a kid swimming in the. So it was a day in South Korea, and there's a kid swimming in the river, and then he saw a kappa, and the kappa said, "I'm going to eat you at 5 o'clock." And then the kid went running into the bushes, and then he ran into a hunter, and the hunter gave him rocks, and he's like, "Throw this at the kappa when he comes for you at 5 o'clock. Maybe you can kill him with it." And then he keeps running, and then he runs into a camper's kid, and the camper's kid gives him a squirt gun, and he has nothing to fill it with, but he gives him a squirt gun because he thinks it would help him defeat the kappa. And then he keeps running into the bushes, and he runs into the winemaker, and the winemaker said, "I see you have a squirt gun. You can put the wine inside of the squirt gun to shoot the kappa in the eye. Maybe that will make him die." And then he runs into a trapper, and the trapper said, "Put this in the bush and then jump over the bush." And the kappa will run through the bush and step on the trap and be trapped, and he can't beat you. And later that day at 5 o'clock, the kappa came, and the kid threw the rock at him, and he missed, and it landed right by his feet. And the kappa starts laughing, "You missed me?" And then the second he goes to look at the kid shoots him in the eye, and he trips over the rock, and he falls into the trap, and he gets decapitated. And then later that day, the kid finds this guy that wants to buy the skin, and he sells the skin, and then he gets really rich, and then he can buy himself a house, so he doesn't live in the bushes anymore. And then the guy that bought the skin, he made a raft out of the skin.
Okay, so one time when I was up camping up in Fairview Canyon, this was a special year when my family had brought up a brand new four-wheeler and an old four-wheeler we had had. We also brought up our cousins for the first time. And so I asked my dad can we ride the four-wheeler? And he said no. Today I don't want you riding the four-wheeler. So of course I ask him again, and he says no. And so I go, okay, Dad. And then I swipe the keys. And so I get on one four-wheeler when my cousin sees me getting on it, and he says, can I ride? And I'm like, sure. And so we go around this little loop we have up there in Fairview Canyon. It's just a loop, and we start driving around it. And when my cousin Bridger comes out of the trees and foliage and says, hey, can I ride? And we say, there's not enough room on this one. He's like, I've got an idea. Why don't you give me the keys to the other four-wheeler and you guys can ride this one? I'm like, sure. So I toss him the keys, and sure enough, we see him on the four-wheeler coming down the loop. And so we start driving around, and my cousin gets this brilliant idea. He said, hey, why don't we make little dust bomb things that'll blind Bridger? And I'm thinking, sure, that sounds like a great idea. And so after we do that a couple times, I say, you know what, let's stop and give him goggles. Maybe this wasn't the best idea, blinding someone driving a four-wheeler. And so I'm like, Ken, stop. Let's stop for a second. And then we yell, Bridger. And yeah, he comes out of that dust cloud, that little dust bomb thing, and barrels right into the back of the four-wheeler we were riding. And somehow, the four-wheeler that me and my other cousin were riding on doesn't have a scratch on it. Yet, the four-wheeler Bridger was riding has been completely dented in, and I was just horrified, thinking, my dad's gonna kill me. And so, my other cousin's panicking, and Bridger runs off into the foliage, and so my other cousin says, what are we gonna do? And I say, tell you what, you'll drive that one up to the trailer, and I'll see if this one's even working. So I go and I start it up, and it starts up, though it hardly can turn, and it goes as fast as the world's slowest turtle. And so this loop's not very big, but it took me like 5 minutes to get up to our trailer, even on a four-wheeler. So when I get up there, my dad's just waiting there, and he looks so mad. I'm like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, did you wreck the four-wheeler? And I'm like, yeah. And so my mom rushes out, and she's like, is anyone hurt? And we're like, no. No one's hurt. And we're like, we don't know where Bridger is, though. So she's like, well, go find him. Luckily, we had just gotten, so we went out and looked there for him, and we had just gotten a dog that, he's got a really good nose, and my cousins had also gotten a dog, so it took us like 10 minutes, so they found him in 3 seconds. And so we say, Bridger, it's okay, why don't you just come back to the trailer and we'll work things out. And so everything goes well, we're all fine. My dad finds out it's going to be like $1,100 in damages. And so it wasn't a very pleasant camping trip after that. Though it was still kind of fun. Though the point of the story is when people tell you not to do something, you don't go, okay, I'll just do it anyways.
So about one summer ago, I was hanging out with my cousins. My auntie was in the kitchen cooking us lunch. And then we went in their room, kind of cleaned it up a little bit. My cousin comes up to me and says, "Hey, do you want to play a game real quick?" And I was like, "Yeah," even though we weren't done cleaning their room. So my cousin turns around to me and she goes, "Wait, you have to help us." I was like, "No." And then she was like, "Okay, let's have a competition." And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So the competition was to see who could clean the fastest, and whoever lost had to clean the whole room by themselves while the others try and mess it up for them. So we played that game for like, I don't know, about 20 to 30 minutes, probably. And while we were doing that, I was cleaning the fastest, but then my cousin was like, "Oh, what's that over there?" And I looked, and she messed up everything. So I guess after that, it was a tie. So we played another game, kind of to see who could run the fastest. She won. Then we played the last game, and it was like a card game. It was Castle. And then once we played, we were kind of tied to tie, but we played one last round and then I won. But then she was like, "No, fairy cheater." And I was like, "How did I cheat? You were the one who cheated, you cheater." So we got into a big argument about who cheated. And then after that, my auntie, she was like, "Okay, come eat." And then my cousin pushed me out of the way because she was mad. So about the next morning, she came up to me and said, "I forgive you." Because I guess once she gets mad, she comes back the next day and she forgives me all of a sudden. So I guess the point of the story here is never have competitions unless you know who's going to win. Probably.
Okay, so I'm sitting in my backyard with my little sister playing frisbee. You know, just chilling, having fun like siblings do. And then she throws me a horrible throw. Like, it was about as bad as her just throwing it behind her. You know, no possible way of catching that. And then, so I got mad at her. And so the next thing I do, I take the frisbee and throw it straight at her, and it goes straight and nails her right in the face. So she knows me well, and so she knows when I'm purposely hurting her or not purposely hurting her, and so she starts crying and she goes and tells my parents. And so then I get sent to my room because honestly there's no other punishment. And instead of being a good little boy like I should be and just sitting in my room and taking my punishment, I pull out my tablet, and with my tablet I can see what they're watching on the TV, and I can alter what they're watching on TV. So while they're watching their show, it gets to one of those climax moments, you know, it's really serious and you really want to finish it. And then right before it happens, I press a button on my tablet to change the show. It was Teletubbies. They absolutely hate Teletubbies. The only time it's ever watched in my house is to annoy people. And so, yeah. So, at first they were okay with it. They just thought the TV glitched out a little, you know, normal thing, and so they changed it back. And the second they do, I press the button again and make Teletubbies come back on. This goes on for about 5 minutes of them having to watch Teletubbies. And so then, eventually, my sister comes in my room, and I'm just like, I don't have anything right now. And she's just like, "Gary, what are you doing?" I'm just like, "Nothing." And so she knows me well too, and so she knows I was doing something bad. Oh, sorry. So she goes and tells my parents, and I end up getting stuck in my room for even longer, and I also don't get to use that tablet I was trolling them with for 2 weeks. And so the thing I learned was, if you're already in a ton of trouble, then don't sit there and get in more trouble.